Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host Maxine and we're on episode 108. Child, we have a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. Before we get into my business, because I know you guys are all up in my business. You're all up in my business. But you know what? That's cool. That's cool because I've opened that door. And this is really the platform where I do share my business. Sometimes I'll be like, damn, should I even say this? Should I still talk about this person again? Or should I bring up this person after not talking about this person for however long? Because I do have some people who listen who are the topic that I'm talking about. And I think to myself, maybe I should just never talk about this person ever again on this podcast. But then I have started this podcast to be a beacon of transparency. Okay? And let's talk about that for a moment because I grew up in an environment where don't speak your truth. Put everything under the rug. Don't really share how you're feeling. Everything's fine. Put a smile on. And growing up in that type of household, it really suppresses your emotions and you don't recognize your own identity. I have always been the one who spoke up, who was not a bystander, but an upstander, who saw something that was inappropriate and decided to speak on it. And though it was just and we'll get more to that maybe in a future episode, maybe even on this episode. I'm going willy-nilly. But when you speak up on something that is inappropriate that's happening and you witness it, right? If I grew up in a healthy environment all the time, at least it would have been a praiseworthy moment. Like, wow, mama, they call me mama back home. You were brave. I'm sorry you were even put in a situation to even speak up on something like this. And yet I did not receive that response. I received a response that was shaming. I was stigmatized. I was made to feel just stupid. My mom told me not to call her mom anymore at that moment in time in my life. And that's when my abandonment issues began. If I had to pinpoint to a time in my life where I could track at what point did I feel abandoned emotionally, it was around the time of 13, 12, 14, that age. And it's been that way since. I say all this to say, I created this podcast to be that beacon of transparency, to be the one to speak up, because oftentimes I was around people who weren't telling the truth. Like, we just walking around this big ass elephant and no one's noticing the elephant I can't walk in the front door because the elephant's in the way. Do you hear me? I can't get by you because you're standing in front of the door. But I'm supposed to climb over this elephant. I'm supposed to just hop on the elephant nose and find a way to get inside the trunk of the elephant and find a way to get inside my house. That's the point of what I'm saying is I grew up around a lot of people who were dishonest, emotionally dishonest, and it had an effect on me to be more honest, to be more transparent, even in spite of the discomfort that I experienced from it. I could not be any other way. I couldn't. Even when I tried to be someone I'm not, I tried to fit in with the masses. It ultimately never worked because I am who I am. You know how people you just can't live a life of deceit. You can't be someone. I know there's a lot of people out there who are doing what is seemingly acceptable, what is beneficial according to what their parents told them to be or what society says. And there's sympathy that I have for that because I understand. And there's empathy that I have for that too, because I understand how it feels to not feel comfortable enough or not feel encouraged to speak and be your true self. Anyway, I say all this to say, when I talk about anything, I need to talk it out through and through, even when I feel like I'm done talking about this person, or damn, this person's probably listening. I don't want him or her to feel like, oh, this bitch is always on. It's really not that. It's really not about anybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I talk about my dating experiences, these niggas, these bitches, whomever, it's really about me. It's not about them. Yes, it's about them for sure. It's not. I'm not saying it's not about them, but it's about my learning, the lessons that I've learned, the growth that I've experienced, the realizations that I've had. And that is why I do what I do. And it really bothers me sometimes when I would watch YouTubers who would be so public about their relationships. And it's so good. It's so lovey-dovey. We're on our way to Tulum, Mexico. We're buying a house together. We've got a dog together. And it's like, as soon as y'all break up, oh, I just want to keep my private life private. Bitch, you basically brought me to your bedroom. You had me in the same room as you and your mate were intimate. I follow this Instagrammer who, she's a cool person. I like her, at least what I know of her online. And she posted this Instagram, she posted a video, like a quick flick of her and her boyfriend in this outside shower. And the way that they have the camera set up, they're obviously not holding the camera, but there's tripods, there's different holders that you can have without you having to hold the camera, right? And, at some point, she's learned the tricks to make it look so natural and seamless. So they're outside in Tulum at this outdoors shower. And, she's naked, he's naked, but it's Instagram. So they're naked, it looks like, but you can't, like, she's holding her arms in a way that you can't see her nipples, at least. And they're like, they look at each other for a moment, and then instantly they're like just gobbling down each other, like kissing down, okay, all the way down. And maybe I'm a hater. Let's start there. Maybe I'm the hater. Because let me tell you what I did. I reported that pic. I reported the vid. I reported that boomerang. I did. I don't know anyone else who is on Instagram who actually reports pictures and videos, and even on Twitter, I do the same thing. When I feel like what you post, sorry for like snapping. Let me stop smacking. I gotta be more conscious about that. When I see something that I feel is inappropriate, I'm going to report. What was inappropriate about that bit? I think what was inappropriate about it, though, for me it was borderline pornography. If I wanted to watch porn, I could go on Pornhub.com. Okay? I'll do that. I didn't go on Instagram to watch you and your dreadlock ass motherfucker boyfriend. They look like a really cool couple, though. I'm not, that's what I'm saying. I'm not hating. Maybe I was hating in that moment. Like, damn, maybe I wish that was me. But the point is, don't put that in my face. I don't need to see, I don't need to be bombarded with you smacking lips with your man. I don't. Look, I'm not a hater when it comes to other types of couple pics, couple videos, right? Like, if you and your man gets engaged, that's beautiful. I'm not hating. I'm double tapping that picture. I'm liking it. If you dedicate a post to him and explain why ever since you've been dating him, you've known what love is. I'm loving that type of content. I think that's beautiful. But don't post a video, a boomerang, any type of short clip of you tonguing down your boyfriend being half naked in Tulum, Mexico. No. Get back to Katy, Texas, and live a regular life. Like, what are we doing? I'm reporting this pig. So I reported it, and I was hoping that it was actually gonna immediately come down, because I reported stuff before that was like more inappropriate, like borderline violent. Because I hate when people post, when Black Lives Matter was like more of a heavy content that's happening, not just out loud, but in social media world. People will post and repost pictures of Ahmaud Arbery, who is allegedly hanging from a tree. And I say allegedly because I never fully watched the video, because I'm not doing that. Like, why are you traumatizing me? We get it. Black Lives Matter. And I'm not saying like it doesn't, right? And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. But it's the constant bombarding of dead black bodies on the street that y'all want to repost every second. Like, I got it the first 2 times that I saw it on my Instagram story within the past 5 minutes that I've been scrolling. Okay, so anyway, all this to say, I reported that makeout vid, that borderline porno makeout vid, because this is too much. Keep your love. Like, those type, like, I feel like the certain level of couple videos, like me and my boyfriend, me and my significant other, me and my partner, should be to a limit. I don't want to see y'all boning. If I wanted to, I could go to a site that is dedicated to that, right? I don't go to Instagram for porn, right? I don't, that's not the destination for it. There's other sites literally available for you. Even Twitter, nigga. Twitter after dark, Twitter during the day. You could find a porn site or porn profile and be good to go. I didn't go on Instagram for that. That's my point. How did I get to this part? All I'm saying is to say, be transparent. No, but my point is, so she would post so much intense, heavy, in love, lovey-dovey content of her boyfriend. And I just wonder, I hope that they don't break up. Well, who knows, right? I mean, look, shit don't be lasting sometimes. Not to sound pessimistic. But the point is, this will be the same type of person, because I've seen it done before, the same type of influencer who would actively and consistently post images and videos of their significant other, and then as soon as they break up, don't ask me about so and so. If you don't see him on my profile, then that's enough of an answer. Like, okay, but you was just dicking him down, or he was just he was just dicking you down. You was just slobbing him up. But now it's none of our business because y'all broke up. Oh, because your heart's broken, it's none of our business, bitch. Tell us what happened. Did he cheat or not? Did you cheat? What's up? Okay. So we're going to get to my personal stuff in a moment. But first, can we talk about Ready to Love? Can we just talk? I don't know if y'all watch that series. And this season in particular, season 2, this is a show on OWN TV, which is a network created by Oprah Winfrey. And in this network, there's only Black content shows. Some of them could be a little of a better quality, but some of them are pretty solid. And Ready to Love is a reality show that involves Black singles, only Black singles, not like, a couple of Blacks, ambiguous Blacks. Is she Black? I don't know. Her hair look kind of, it's black singles on the show. And it's like grown Black men and women in a heterosexual environment. So this is to be very specific. So they're grown, like late 30s, early 40s, looking for love. They've either been married, didn't work out, divorced, maybe even widowed. Many of them have kids because, at this point, nigga, you're gonna meet somebody with a kid or a couple of kids. There was one contestant, forgot his name, it doesn't even matter anymore, but he came on the show with seven kids, talking about 5 different baby mamas for those kids. Like, nigga, fuck you and go to hell. Why you're not ready for anything. Go ready to be at church. Go ready to be with the Lord. The fuck? You ready to love now? You've just had 7 kids with 5 different baby mamas. When were you ready? So the 7th child made you ready? Child. And he's 52. He's a good 52 too. Like, takes care of his body. He was in the music industry playing an instrument. I think he actually could sing too, but a talented man. But no, you're not ready to love. And it's not, here's the thing, I actually feel bad saying that, because like, who am I to say a man with several kids and several baby mamas aren't ready to love? Who am I? I'm Maxine Morenzi. That's who the fuck I am. Let's keep it very honest. No, you're not ready to love. You're not. And it's to say that let's be typically about it. Those men are typically emotionally unavailable. They are not interested in commitment. They don't see a purpose in it. They see marriage as an unnecessary thing. I'm marrying the government and it's just between me and you. It's a soul marriage. It's a soul tie. Like, nigga, fuck you and go to hell. He was talking about how he's not really into marriage because he sees it as just a contract. It's a legally binding contract that is unnecessary. You know, if we together for 10 years, if we live together, we basically married. We married though. And everyone else on the show is like, no, you're not. You're not. And that's oftentimes what I hear from men who are against marriage. They see it as only a legally binding contract. And don't get me wrong, marriage is a legal matter, right? It is that, as well as it is a commitment that you are making with your significant other. It is a step to settle down and be the man and be the woman that you are to be for your partner. And when we try to minimize it like it's just this legally binding contract and it's good, no, it just really showcases your insecurity when it comes to commitment and being loyal to somebody and really settling down for someone. It's a red flag for me. No, not everyone needs to be married. No, marriage isn't for everybody. Totally get that. Then just say that. Just say, hey, marriage is not for me. I'm just not interested in marriage. Don't come out and say, oh, it's not even a real thing. We ain't got to be married. Like, nigga, fuck you and go to hell. Fuck you and go. That's the name of the episode. It's like, but you know, like, we don't have to do that. Anyway, okay. There's a lot to talk about for this season, and I'm going to go around town, downtown with this breakdown, okay? So please follow along, rewind if you need to. Hell, you could even pause this episode and go to Ready to Love on the O Network and watch the season. Okay, so you really understand what the fuck I'm talking about. So you can really participate and like nod along and talk to yourself as you are listening to me. Like, damn, mama, or damn, Maxine, like you hit it right at the target. I want you to watch this show, and I'm not sponsored by them, not yet at least, but I really want you guys to take some time. I don't know how many episodes it's been in the season, maybe 12. But it's such a good piece of entertainment that the level of content that I receive from it, literally, I could make an episode for every episode. of this season for Ready to Love. But anyway, let's gonna just follow along with me. I'm gonna do my best to describe these contestants, these characters really, and whether you watch the show or not, you'll still be able to follow along. So let's start off with these character types. Okay, I am going to make it plain and clear. So we have the niggas who are fine as fuck, right? The men who are just like, damn, that nigga is fine. Like, wow. Like, all you see is their fineness. And immediately what you feel for them is lust. You feel like you want to jump their bones. You feel like you want to flirt with them all the time. You just feel so attracted to them. They captivate you because of their beauty, because of their sexiness. There's an essence to them, and that's real, right? And it feels real in the moment, but really all that you're feeling is lust. And it's more lust when you begin to realize the conversation that you have with that person is solely superficial and surface level. There's no level of depth and quality when it comes to conversing with that lustful guy. And this lustful guy is Cal Fani. Cal Fani? That's his name. He is a Ghanaian bodybuilder. That nigga is fine. Okay, Cal Fani could come see me. Oh, and another fun fact about this season. So you guys know I live in Houston, Texas. All of these contestants are from Houston, Texas, but they filmed this season in a resort, and I think they filmed in Atlanta. So, but all of them are from Houston, Texas. They live in Houston, Texas. So I might have to run into Cal Fani, but maybe not, because according to the reunion episode, he is back with an ex and is looking to actually marry this bitch. Not this bitch. Let me not say that, but this bitch. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, so Cal Fani, fine as fuck, but he's the lustful guy. He lacks emotional depth. He lacks just realness, and it magnifies more when he's in the company of Adriana. Who is Adriana? Adriana is the youngest cast member. And she is, I want to say she's 28, 29, like super young. She's the youngest out of all the ladies, out of all the men too. So she's the youngest one on the show. And throughout this season, I recognize that, oh wow, she's immature as fuck. She's emotionally unavailable. She is not in a position where she is ready to love. And the irony of this show, it is literally called Ready to Love. And we know TV shows, like some of them are just, many of them, maybe all of them, are really just full of shit, right? Because the contestants are not necessarily the right proper candidates. They're not really in the show for the right motives. Maybe some of them, a few of them are. But to literally have a show titled Ready to Love, and literally not one of these motherfuckers were ready to love at all. Like, nigga, do y'all love yourselves? Do you guys even love yours? Do you guys know what love is? Do you love God? Like, it's really just, it's strange. It's very strange, but it's the irony of it all. So anyway, her name is Adriana. So she is immature. She's emotionally unavailable. She keys and laughs every moment because she lacks maturity. And look, I understand her, because a part of me is look, I don't want to say I'm immature, but clearly I am. I just did that whole voice. But here's the thing with me, I like to laugh. I am that girl who is gonna joke on you and crack you up, and sometimes I do maybe put myself in a box because I do that so much, so that niggas may look at me as more of a homegirl than, I don't know. Maybe I gotta sit with that. Because I know I'm sexy and fine and all of that. not to sound conceited, but but I think to a limit, there is this emotionally unavailableness that I have when it comes to myself. Oh my God, I'm having an aha moment. Shit, hold on. I remember Houston nigga, y'all. This guy I used to date like a year ago. and he's from Houston bred, and he always had like basically he has something in his ass, literally, like just a stick up his ass. Just was not someone who I could joke with. He was just always too serious. And I think I was handling something. I don't know. I don't really want to get into it. But the point is, we've had moments, me and him, we had moments. I remember we had one argument, and I wasn't able to articulate I wasn't able to articulate myself well. Like I was still like, I was like trying to defend myself, but I was doing it in a giddy way. Like, like I was like kind of laughing, and I was stuttering too. And it's funny because like here on the podcast, at least I try to be as articulate as I can. Even, when I'm working in my professional world, I'm articulate as I can be, and in other areas in my life. But when it comes to a dynamic where I have to be in a position where it's not a professional cloak around me, it's literally just me as I am in front of a man who I'm dating, there is this kind of giddy young girl vibe or just feel that I incorporate. And that is something that I could definitely relate to when it comes to Adriana from the show. And he didn't respond well to my response or my reaction, like the way that I would present myself. Sometimes I wasn't as grown and woman-like to his standards, maybe. And, maybe I think he was also an ancient nigga, an ain't shit nigga. But I also recognize that I wasn't mature enough for him. And I think he wants, there are men out there who want women who are just grown ass women, like just like no bullshit type of women. And I don't know if I'll ever be that girl. Like, I just love to laugh. Like, I think there's a balance, I feel like we need to be able to balance out our serious time and our jokey time. And I think that's the reason why I know that's the reason why me and him didn't work out. He was just too serious. Like, nigga had a stick up here. I was trying to take a stick out his ass. That's how much of a stick he had in his ass. Needless to say, I wasn't as mature as he maybe wanted me to be. And I am who I am. Either you like me or you don't. The purpose of what I'm saying is I could understand Adriana's immaturity. There's a moment. So she's an immature, emotionally unavailable girl, the youngest girl on the show. She wasn't like the immature girl who like always crack jokes. That's me though. I crack a joke. One thing about me, I'm gonna crack a joke. I'm gonna crack a joke and I'm gonna go to sleep, right? That's one thing. You can count on that for me. I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to crack a joke. That's gonna be one and the other. So with her, she wasn't the jokey type, but she was totally immature and not as grown in her essence, in her character yet. She was still growing, and she's 28, 29. I get her. But the purpose of the show is, are you ready to love? And she wasn't. And I wouldn't be honest if I was on that show, because I know I wouldn't be ready to love. Like, okay, nigga, I'm just here to fuck. So okay, those are the two characters so far. There's this guy named Rashid. Rashid is the good guy, mind you. I did not project him to be that from episode 1 or 2, because he just felt like he was like trying to come off like he got it all, like he is this luxurious man. But ultimately, he's a good guy. And I do recognize I probably misjudged him, but he's definitely a good guy. And with him, he presents this safety net. Like he when he likes you, he likes you. He will commit to you. He put his eggs in his basket. And he really liked Adriana. They actually went on one date prior to this show. They met before, but apparently Adriana ghosted him But according to the reunion, Rashid said, well, we mutually ghosted each other. Like, nigga, no, she played you, but okay. So they saw each other again on the show, and his feelings for her kept, they returned. And he was really interested in her. Like, throughout the season, he went on dates with one or two other women, but his priority, his number one, was Adriana. It was period. But the problem between Rashid and Adriana was basically Khalfani. Khalfani was a lustful guy, and when you have someone like Adriana who is emotionally unavailable, she was not in a position to receive the good man of it all that Rashid is. The man who was ready to love her, literally ready to love her, ready to be there for her, ready to show up for her, ready to settle for her, ready to focus for her. She's not in a position to receive that because she is emotionally unavailable. So what is an emotionally unavailable girl going to do? Go for the lustful guy. Go for the guy who is casual. Go for the guy who you could have a good time with. Hello? And I get her. I've been there. Sis, I'm there right now. It's like, I'm not there right now, but I've been there and I get that. I've been in, y'all know, I talk about it all the time on this podcast. All these motherfuckers I fuck, okay? And it's all because of this allure for lust. Because ultimately, emotionally unavailability was me. And I'm saying was very loosely because I think I don't know, like, does that shit even go away? Because I'm actively working on, like, I'm always actively growing and being mindful of my actions. But I just wonder, what if I'm just subconsciously gonna continue to attract emotionally unavailable situations? Like, what do I have to always consciously tell myself, don't do this, Maxine? This is an emotionally unavailable situation, when I feel like there are people who don't have to speak to themselves like that. It's just a natural reality. Still working on that. But I understand Adriana when it comes to that point. So she ultimately chooses Khalfani. Oh, spoiler alert. That's why I said you have to stop this episode and listen and watch the season. Okay? Just watch the season and come back. But she chooses Khalfani. Khalfani chooses her. And they live happily ever after, which is a lie. It didn't work out, according to the reunion episode. He played her, basically. And the problem is, look, I felt some type of joy when he revealed to everyone and to us that he decided to go with someone else, which is not another cast member, which is actually an ex of his. He decided to go backwards and go back to this woman who he gave the reason why he went back to her is because she already has a great relationship with his kids, and he just thought it was a good idea. Like, like just some dumb nigga shit. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up and go to hell. So anyway, he goes back to her, and then on the reunion, he's explaining that. And she's sitting next to him because, they have to create the appearance that they may still be together. Just for trailer and just a teaser of the reunion show. And to hear that as the viewer, as someone watching it from an outside point of view and seeing Adriana just sitting there calm and collected, or just kind of dumbstruck in a way, I felt this leveled anger that I was trying to hold myself together, because I felt that. I felt how it felt to be in Adriana's shoes, to rightfully assume that, oh, we're doing this thing called a relationship, or at least this courting stage into a relationship. We're doing this thing, yet as soon as the cameras are off, as soon as we leave the resort and we go into reality mode, you're leaving me? Huh? You jump ship? What? You changed your mind? Nigga, fuck you and go to hell. I felt this leveled anger because I know how that felt. I know how that feels like. Because y'all know when I shared before how I was somewhat dating or just talking to or really vibing with this guy I used to work with years ago. And at the end of the school year, he confessed his feelings for me, and it felt so magical and just so, it was just a beautiful moment. We kissed, he kissed me. We would look in each other's eyes. He was talking in future format. You know when niggas talk like, oh, when we do this, oh, when you come here, because he was going to Paris for his acting. He has acting he had, at least, I don't know now, but he had acting pursuits, and he was going on this acting. He was attending this acting school, and he got accepted to it. It's in London, and he was saying, oh, when you come to London, we could do this, we could do that. And in London, people are so, I think he said PDA. And I was just so enamored. I was sold. And it wasn't, in that moment, it didn't feel like someone was trying to sell me something. Because oftentimes when guys do say stuff like future tenses, when we do this, when we go there, we would do this, right? That it sounds like you're trying to sell me, right? You're trying to convince me about something. You're trying to persuade me. But with him in that moment, it felt so genuine because he just revealed to me earlier, and throughout the year, it was confirmation of his feelings for me. And now that we was gonna part our ways when it comes to our workplace, because he was no longer gonna work there anymore, and I was leaving that workplace, it felt like a permission for us to finally explore. Because he didn't want to, and I not really did I want to be in relationship with someone who was my coworker at the time. So it was just a great time for us to finally start this thing called a relationship. And the next 2 days, or the next day, it was literally the next day. I don't know why I said 2 days. I'm trying to not make it sound so hurtful. But the next day, y'all, was trying to reach him, couldn't reach him. Then he finally responds to me, and then he tells me, and then he's talking very sporadically, and it was just not the same energy as it was before. And immediately I knew something was up, but I just didn't imagine that he ended up saying to me that he doesn't feel the same way about me as I feel for him, and he's basically sorry for leading me on. And it was just a ton of bricks just fell on me. Like, literally a ton of bricks fell on me. I went to the hospital because a ton of bricks fell on me. That's what happened. But a ton of bricks fell on me because when I tell you I was so convinced that this was my husband. When I tell y'all, I was so convinced that this was the one. This was it. I was ready to announce him to my parents. This would have been the second guy I've announced to my parents. I was ready to just pick up ship and go. When I tell y'all, as soon as he started talking to me about future tenses of us being in London together, of me visiting him in London, when I tell y'all that night or that evening when I came back home, and this is all in Boston when I was living in Boston, when I came back home, I immediately went on passport.com or whatever, usgov.com, trying to figure out how do I get a passport, because the passport that I had at that time was completely expired. It was when I was a baby, so I needed to obviously get a new one, renew it. And I was looking it up, y'all. I immediately just applied for my passport, and it's a fee of $115, $120. I paid that shit in full right in that moment, as soon as this nigga told me when I come see him in London, because it felt so official. I was gonna go to London to be with my nigga. Oh, let me get this passport situated. I'm gonna go ahead and get this worked out. And I did. I got it worked out. But the next day, I got that text from him talking about I don't feel for you the way you feel for me, and I'm sorry for leading you on. And he tried to cushion it up with his state of mind, his instability mentally. He was explaining how throughout his previous relationships, he was always the cheater. He always cheated. He always fucked up on the girls. Even when he really wanted them, even when he really liked them, he still fucked it up. he got some inner things to work on, and he was just speaking in that language. And I just was, even in that moment, I was still trying to get him. I was still trying to convince him, no, it's going to be different with me. It's going to be great with me. And I think ultimately he still had those issues. Like, I think that, I know it sounds like an excuse, but it was clearly a red flag. Like, I wouldn't want to be with someone who was a perpetual cheater and didn't get the help that he needed, right? And I knew that also in that time that he was still in infatuation, at least, or still really liked this other girl that he mentioned to me before. And actually, come to find out months later, maybe even a year later, I was scrolling on Facebook, and guess what I see? He and that girl got engaged. They're probably married with a kid in a house, living the good life, actor's wife type of shit. And of course, I was devastated. Anyway, I say all this to say, there is a level of devastation that feels like no other when you really feel convinced that this person is the one for you. Like, there's been confirmation. You've talked to God. When I tell y'all, I spoke to God about him, and I was like, and maybe I didn't speak to God about him all the time, but I would say stuff like, give me a sign if this is my husband. And I would say specifically what needs to happen for it to be confirmation. And then that actual thing would happen. So that could have been the enemy. Or maybe it could have been God, whomever. But either way, there were many times throughout the year when that confirmation was had, and I felt like, okay, this is my husband. Okay, it will soon be revealed. Okay. And then to finally hear from him at the last day of school, of our work year together, that he felt for me, and he really likes me, like he really like, and he said it like that, I really like you. And he was like, I don't really like anyone like that, and a lot of people like him, but it's not often does he feel the same in reciprocation. And to finally see that or hear that from him, it was a confirmation on top of confirmation. Okay. So all that to say is very, very devastating when someone pulls the rug up under you and you thought everything was good, like what? So to sit and watch that moment between Adriana and Kalfani, and Adriana just sit there and kind of just laugh it off or not really have much to say, I wanted her to cuss him out. I wanted her to be mature enough or be grown enough to really let him have it. And I thought about myself in that moment when that happened to me. I was the same way. I was caught off guard. I was still trying to convince him to, well, it was one or two times I tried to somewhat convince him to, reconsider, basically, like, oh, we can make it work. And I don't care about the fancy stuff. I was trying to say all of that stuff, but ultimately, obviously, it didn't work. And instead of reacting with anger, I was reacting with this desperation, this plea to still have this guy want me after he blatantly told me he doesn't want me. And to not have taken that opportunity to rash him, to be like, nigga, you are a fucking clown. You are a piece of shit. You should have never, just like really let him have it. I instead didn't I didn't grow into that woman that I am growing to be more and more of every day. And seeing that in Adriana on the reunion show, I was just feeling that moment like, wow, this is devastating. And I wish she would have spoken up too. I wish she would have said something, but obviously it's not as easy said as or easily done as it is said. So that was a great description for those three characters. Let's get into Denise. Denise. And again, if you watch this season, you'll know exactly why I just sighed right there. Denise is someone who I feel her on a different level. I feel her on a different level because I was rooting for her. Where was I rooting for you? How dare you? Okay, Tyra Banks style. I was really rooting for her because I see so much more in her, and I really see in her just this hurt being, this person who just needs compassion and love. And because she's been traumatized throughout over a good majority of her life, there is this residue, and y'all know I have a heart for traumatized people. Obviously, Boston Bay. I have a heart for traumatized people, and my heart for them just, I see them on a different level. Yes, they could be assholes. Yes, they could be people who are unaccountable, and I don't know about the word unaccountable, but they could be people who are just totally, maybe even narcissists. But beyond that, I recognize that, wow, you was just someone who was hurt. You are just someone who is hurt, not was. You are someone who is just hurt, who is just so hurt to the point where you have been handicapped because of this hurt. This hurt has destabilized you so much so that you are inept from moving forward, and that is what brings me so much pain, and it motivates me to want to love you so I could bring you out of that pain. That's how I see it, and that's how I see Denise. And with her, she's definitely crazy. I think she is a narcissist, actually. And I'm not going to get too deep into her. I didn't realize how long I was talking about these motherfucking characters. I want to talk about myself now. But there is something with her that there is a lack of accountability, personal awareness. She lacks it all. And with her, she was obsessed with Kafan. I don't say obsessed, but she really, really liked him. Really, really liked him. And they started liking, he liked her too in the beginning. But once he saw a glimpse of Adriana, he forgot about Denise. And Denise, I think because she poorly handled herself, she looked unfavorable in the eyes of Kalfani. Because there was a moment when Denise saw Kalfani and Adriana cuddled up, kikiing, talking about whatever, and Denise is walking by them, and she's walking by them, she's breaking her neck to make sure they see that she sees them. And then she walks by them twice, and she's shaking her head like, okay, I see you, okay. Oh, she's doing all this shit like, girl, stop. Denise, I'm rooting for you. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? I was really rooting for her, and for her to act a damn fool in that moment, it really just made her look stupid. I just look stupid. Like, damn, girl, you look stupid. Stop, girl, you look stupid. And that's what it is with her. She looks stupid. And it's ultimately because she needs help. She really just needs psychiatric help. Like, I have a psychiatrist friend. I could recommend her if I need to. But there is this brokenness that she exemplifies throughout the season, and I can just see right through it. I see it. I think a lot of times people don't see stuff, or they just don't recognize, oh, well, trauma is the reason why she's acting this way. And yes, it's not an excuse. I'm not trying to excuse it. It's just there's more compassion. I like to lead with compassion more. Okay, let's talk about Edwin real quick. One thing about me, I'm staying far away from niggas who's been in war. Okay? I'm staying far away from niggas who been to Iraq. Okay, nigga, I'm staying far away from you if you've been to Chicago. Okay? I am steering clear from any nigga who has PTSD. Oh, your father was a crackhead? Oh, PTSD. I'm not dealing with that. And that's an update. I'm gonna tell y'all about Boston Bay and how I finally did what I did. But PTSD is a real thing. It's post-traumatic stress disorder, and oftentimes, more than likely, literally every veteran, every war criminal, whomever, has PTSD. They may not have the same level or maybe same amount as their fellow peers, but they have it, okay? And PTSD is not limited to war vets. It is also to anyone who's been through a traumatized home life. Maybe your father, your mother was unavailable for you throughout your formative years. That could result into you having PTSD. And so just look it up, y'all. It is a definitely real thing. And for Edwin in particular, he fought in the war. I don't know how long he was a vet, but to just think about it, to experience niggas just dying, just being shot and killed, their brain matter just splattered all over you, right next to you, and you over here trying to come back home. Okay, like what? And the funny thing about PTSD, maybe it's not even funny, it's actually really scary. The thing about PTSD is you would just be having a happy moment with somebody, with your partner. You know, y'all had a great dinner, you cook for your man, and you know, you slaved in the kitchen to cook for him, and y'all put the dishes away in the sink, and you're like, hey babe, could you just go ahead and take care of this? You know, I'm tired. And then instantly he starts thinking about the time when he was in Iraq, and he starts freaking out. Like, nigga, we are in Houston, Texas. What are you doing? You know, there are just moments where he just the man could be triggered. There is just this instability. It's just, go seek help. Go seek Christ. At this point, God is the only savior. And that's the word. That's the end of the sentence. That God is it. Jesus Christ is it. Because, child, I can't save you. I can't. Edwin was connecting a lot with Joy. And with Joy, she has a nice spirit to her, and she will always talk about therapy and how she's worked through some trauma that she's experienced, and she's really gotten far in her healing journey. And I could tell that if her and Edwin were to actually do this thing called a relationship, she would have been depleted. She would have been emotionally depleted. It is exhausting being with someone who always got a story. Nigga, what did you go through again? Like, what happened again in your childhood? Are you okay? Damn, your crackhead father abused you too? Oh, shit. Damn, you witnessed a murder right next door? Oh, shit. Damn, you never felt the love of God? Oh, shit. Like, it's just, it's one thing after another. I'm tired of your stories. I think with people with PTSD, there is just a different, like, I think they should be in an island. They should go to an island and just be with other PTSD people, because I think it's unfair. Honestly, I think it's unfair. It's unfair to put your trauma, and you could say, oh, well, they could just go to therapy. No, they can't. I mean, they could, but they can't. Oh, because ultimately, your partner, who you choose to be with romantically, intimately, is going to take on some burden, some weight that you've been carrying. So whether you do go to therapy consistently, even when you are going to church consistently, there is a level of burden and weight that your partner has to carry, just as your partner who's dating someone with PTSD motherfucking D. Anybody got time for that? Go to an island and date other PTSD niggas. I'm not. So look, one thing about me, I'm gonna stay far away. Are you been to the war? Oh, lose my number. I'm not. My name is not Maxine anymore. Call me something else. I'm not giving you a real name. Not doing it. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna move on from this topic because there's a lot to go on, and I want to get to why I am so proud of myself. Why am I proud of myself? Because one, I want to just tell y'all that the last episode, you know, the one with Yamanika as my guest, I was just so excited, so happy, so grateful to have had that opportunity. I still love her. I'm not saying this has like a disclaimer, like I can't fucking stand that bitch. No. I still love her, and I'm so grateful because I follow her on Instagram. It's not like she's like a influencer type of girl, one of those people, but she's a real girl, and she just happened to be a great comedian, and she happens to be on TV. She's been on different TV shows like Funny Girls on the Oxygen Network, like the Meredith Vieira show when that was on. Different shows and different skits on Comedy Central. Like, wow, like you're really like out here doing it. And with her, she keeps it so real. There are some people, how Cardi B try to say, I keep it real, but they keep it mad ghetto. Like, girl, cut your nails, stop. But with her, with Yamanika, she keeps it so just genuine and honest. And, it may look like she's living a glorious life, right? She's on TV, she's getting makeup done, she's at a trailer, getting ready for a scene, but she talks about living with her 2 cats and just dealing with the same shit we deal with, and how she's been through trauma herself. She's been molested when she was younger, and she's been through horrible relationships and breakups, and she's often talked about narcissistic dating and what it looks like and what it felt like to date a narcissist. And when I thought about, who can I have this conversation with? Like, this will be a great opportunity to have this conversation with her because of the level of experience she had with dating narcissistic people. And I just thought to myself, I really believe that the Holy Spirit just convicted me to reach out to her again and ask if she could be a guest on my podcast to talk about this topic, because I've tried a couple times before. She would have these Instagram lives, and she just so genuine, like just a real cool, like she's a friend now in real life, now that she said we're friends in real life. So whenever I am in New York and happen to come across her, that's my friend. So that's pretty cool. But she would often say, if you guys want me to be, she'll just kind of mention it, like she's available, or if she could be available if you want her to be a guest on your show, or X, Y, and Z. And I've DM'd her many times before, just saying, hey, I would love for you to be a guest on my podcast, but I never said it with the specificity, of the topic that we would talk about. I would just say, I just want you to guest on I just want you a guest on my show. So when I got convicted to go and reach out to her again, this was right before, I think it was on Christmas Day or maybe even Christmas Eve. And I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and DM her, and let me specifically ask her if she could be a guest on my show and we could talk about narcissism. So I did that, and she responded the next day, y'all. Mind you, she never responded before. She responded the next day. And to get a response from her, not only to get a response from her, but to have her immediately agree and say, yeah, let's do it. Here's my email. Tell me what date works. And I sent, we just coordinated it, and it was scheduled, and it happened. And the fact that it actually happened, because it could have resulted to her ghosting me, right? Her rescheduling and never making it, but she still made it, and just really shows who she is, her humility, and just her taking time. That's just some dope shit. Like, I like people like that. The fact that you're on TV and you made time. She was on The Breakfast Club, y'all. It's a really dope radio show, and to be on The Breakfast Club and to also be a guest on my podcast, it was just a great, awesome moment. So as I was recording with her, and we were discussing dating a narcissist and all of that, I felt and I recognized that, man, I think God was speaking through her to speak to me about this whole Boston Bay situation. Because on that episode, I talked about how I felt convicted to pray for him, intercessory pray for him, to be the one to help him to be who God has called him to be. Because y'all know, when I talk about Boston Bay, I talk about him in a way that because he's been through so much trauma, I feel somewhat of a responsibility, maybe even a savior complex to uproot him from this poor negative mindset, this poor negative behavior that he would exhibit all the time. And yeah, he's been an asshole to me many, many times, but I would try to put that as a back burner, as an excuse, because, oh, well, his dad was a crackhead. He witnessed his dad beat on his mom. His best friend got killed in front of him when he was 7. Like, there was so many things that I know about Boston Bay's history and his childhood that it influenced me so heavily to look at him with much more compassion than accountability. And there was a point in our conversation with Yamanika that she said to me, she was like, look, you don't have to pray for him anymore. I'll take on that burden. So you don't have to feel that responsibility anymore. I'll take it on. I'll pray for him. I'll pray for you in my little prayer corner. And she was just giving me, in that moment, I felt this release, this confirmation to finally let this shit go. Oh, you're going to take on this burden? Because y'all know in that moment, I was 18 days deep into my intercessory prayer. And my goal was to pray for 30 full days and journal it on behalf of Boston Bay. So when I was in my intercessory prayer mode, I was really into praying for him. I was really into just having God unveil his eyes, make him see and feel the goodness of the Lord. Like, I was really speaking life over this motherfucker. Fuck! Oh, I'm praying for you and you treating me like shit. What? Is this life? What is this? Okay, I'm praying for you and you ghosted me again. What the fuck? Remember I told y'all the last episode I talked about how, the one before Yamanika's episode, we were supposed to, well, I asked him if he was free one weekend and he said, yeah, he's free. He just have to bring his son to a game, but he's pretty much around. He's like, I'm around, hun. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was thinking I could fly into Boston and we could spend the weekend together. And then suddenly, conversation just stopped. Everything came to a halt. Everything halted, okay? And he didn't respond for like an hour. So I responded to him. I'm like, okay, then never mind then. He's like, oh, wait. He's like, oh, sorry, babe. And whenever he's trying to get me to, forget his disrespectful behavior in the moment, he'll use a pet name. He'll say babe. He'll say hun. He'll say sweetie. He'll say, stuff like that. So he apparently was busy in that moment. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna respond real quick because he said, hold on, wait, my bad. So I'm like, okay, he's going to respond maybe 10 minutes later. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to move forward from there. He doesn't respond. It's hours later. I finally get a response late at night from him talking about, hey, are you awake, babe? Nigga, it's 1 a.m. Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to the pits of hell where you came from. Are you awake, babe? No, I'm getting ready to go to work in 5 hours. Are you awake? Do you have a heart? Do you have a father? Like, I'm sorry, I'm being petty. But the point is, like, what the fuck? You get so, why are you suddenly acting like this? You suddenly acting all ghost and shit because I want to ask you if you're free for me to come down. We could spend the weekend together and, do this thing called love. Just bullshit. Just dumb. So anyway, he says that I was at that time, y'all know I was talking to this married guy for a day and I was like, yeah, no, this nigga's kind of crazy. I'm not trying to do this married shit. So I ended that, but I was with him in that moment when he texted me, hey, are you awake, babe? So I didn't respond, but as soon as I got back to my place, I was like, okay, let me respond and say, yeah. Obviously, Boston Bay didn't respond after that. And I didn't hear from him at all the following days. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I WTF him. And then I ended up deleting that thread. But sometimes when you delete a thread, even if you delete the thread, if a person decides to double tap that comment, that text that you sent him or her, they, like, you know how you double tap, you could double tap and laugh, you could double tap and emphasize, double tap and like or dislike the text or question it. He double tapped and laughed. I know he did, because I had no other open messages. There was no other threads that had that notification. It was for him. Even though the thread didn't open again, and I'm telling y'all the truth. I'm telling you, even though the thread didn't open again, I knew it was from him. And it was more in that moment, I just realized, again, this is another psychological warfare that he does with me. That is the symptom of dating a narcissist. There is this thrill of poking the person, this thrill of making them do what you want them to do. And when they do it, or when they give in, when they tell you they love you, even if you don't really love them back, you feel this glee, this hope, this joy, this power, because you see it as your way of getting your way. You see it as your way of getting control, because, oh, I got this bitch to say I love you. Oh, I got this bitch to say she wants to see me for the weekend. And instead of just being a man about it and saying, you know, oh, hey, I can't do that weekend, let's do something else or whatever, you ghost me and you are playing mind games with me. You're suddenly not available to talk for 10 hours. And then when I text you WTF, you want to double tap that and laugh it. So I sent him a finale text. I was like, I don't know why you are not talking to me. If you couldn't do the weekend, if you don't want to spend time, if you didn't want to spend the weekend with me, then just say that. I don't know why you keep on doing this. You know, very logistical, right? Or very logical, very grown, mature, specific, and clear. And of course, he did not respond. And I decided to just not text him anymore at that point. I was like, okay, I'm done texting blank text to a nigga who's literally Casper. So when Yamanika said what she said on that episode, on the previous episode, I felt this confirmation, this release to finally let Boston Bay go. And I know. Y'all like, oh, bitch, you said this time and time again. I know. Okay, let's start there. I fucking know. But I am proud of who I am, because you know why? I am always me, right? I am always going to be open and honest and transparent. So all the times when I said I was done with him and kind of took him back, or I took him back halfway, or I took him back fully, I stood in that. I'm not gonna be ashamed of it. I'm not going to lie to y'all, because at the end of the day, I am me, right? Drake style. And this is to encourage everyone to be themselves, to be unapologetically themselves, to stand in their mistakes and recognize, yeah, I probably made a poor decision there. I probably did something wrong there. I probably fucked that up there. But you learn and you grow, and sometimes you'll fall short, and then you'll come back again, and then you'll do better, and then you'll do better, and then you'll do better. But in this time, I recognize I am doing much better, because not only did I say to myself, okay, yeah, I'm done. And this moment was the confirmation that I needed. When Yamanika told me that I did not have to pray for him anymore, I'll take on this burden, I felt this confirmation, this release, all the formations, okay? Formation, Beyonce was in the house, like all of that came into play. And I felt in that moment, okay, this is it. This is God telling me to let this go, because I don't need to carry on this burden. And when you take on intercessory prayer, it's an honorable thing, right? It's honorable to care or love someone so much so that you, despite how they treat you, despite how they make you feel, you care and love for them so much so that you are willing to sacrifice your own comfort, your own self-respect, honestly, and pray for that person. Even not just pray, because self-respect necessarily isn't isn't taken away when you're praying for somebody. But in a sense of you still being available for that person is a form of self-disrespect, because you know that this person time and time again has disrespected you, has gaslighted you, has made you feel less than, has dismissed you, has ignored you. And that's what Boston Bay has done to me throughout our duration within our dynamic. So in that moment, I felt this confirmation. I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. So I stopped praying for him. I did not complete the 30-day journey. And that's, that's different for me. Usually when I start a fast or start a journey, I complete it. And I decided to stop. Because I did not want to feel that burden anymore. And I realized it is not my cross to bear. I do not need to carry the weight of your crackhead daddy. I don't. I'm sorry. I could have pity. Not even pity. Pity sounds so mocking. But I could have sympathy for you. I could wish you well, right? But I do not need to be available for you anymore. I do not need to feel responsible for you anymore. Even on a spirit, because I will also try to excuse it, well, it's bigger, it's a spiritual thing, you're battling, he's battling his demons. And I still believe that, but that's not my fucking problem. And I finally realized that, wow, this is not my problem. It has nothing to do with me. Your crackhead daddy has nothing to do. And I feel like I'm making it seem like crackhead daddy is just a joke. No. His dad is really a crackhead. And I'm not even trying to say that's a joke. No, he really does have a crackhead daddy. And maybe he still is. Maybe he gotten help lately, but last time I checked, he's still a crackhead. And my heart goes out to anyone dealing with addiction. Let's just say that, make that clear. But it's not my responsibility. I'm not responsible for you anymore. I never was. And I had to realize that. And in that moment, I realized that in my conversation with Yamanika. And I think it's also divine. God was at the center of it all. Honestly, God had a hand in it, because for him to create this opportunity for me and Yamanika to converse with each other, for her to be a guest on my podcast, it was just honorable, and it really showed me what I needed to see, what I needed to receive in order to move forward with this Boston Bay situation. I needed her to be on my podcast for me to finally let go of Boston Bay. Who knew? All I needed was Yamanika on my show. So what I did to finally let him go, I finally, consulted with myself, consulted with God about it as well. And I decided to block him. I blocked that nigga. And I never blocked. Have I blocked him before? No, I think I blocked him on one platform, but I still gave him accessibility in Instagram, right? So I blocked him once on my, no, I didn't block him, but honestly, I don't remember. I know that I've deleted his contact on my phone several times, but and maybe if I did block him before, I blocked him from one platform, but I still gave him the access to my Instagram. I still wanted to see if he was looking on my Instagram stories this time. Oh, he's gonna comment on this one. And what's funny is that he will always comment on my Instagram story whenever I'm talking about one of my dating experiences, or whenever I post something sexy, or even when I'm just cracking a joke on something that I've experienced with a nigga. He would always seemingly, or just very coincidentally, come into my DMs right in that moment. I'm telling y'all, it's the enemy, yo. Straight up the devil, straight up Lucifer. But anyway, I decided to block him, not just from my phone, but from the Instagrammy as well. So that's how you know it's official, y'all. That's how you know it's official. And my friend, I was just talking to my friend about that, and she's like, "Girl, you better hope that he doesn't have your email address." Right. And I don't think he doesn't. How would he have I'm trying to think. I never exchanged my email address to him. But I blocked him. And initially I was, before the conversation with Yamanika, I was thinking about blocking him but I didn't fully commit to it because I wanted him to still have access to me. I wanted him to see me do well, right? Eventually, when I do get into a relationship that is healthy, that is beautiful, with the man of my dreams, I want him to see that shit. I want you to see. Look at the bitch you play. Look at the bitch you play, nigga. You know, I want him to see that. Have full access, frontal view, nigga. What's up? But I had to move forward from that mindset. I had to not allow my pride to get in the way of my self-respect. Hey, that's a word. I had to really check myself and realize him, even if he was to see pictures of me and my new man, right, when he comes, you know, Lord willing, praise God, hallelujah, you know, there still would have been a part of me wanting Boston Bay to want me, to desire me, and there would still be a part of me desiring him too, and the door would have never been fully closed, you know, and there would have still been an opportunity and probably an opportunity had of me and him rekindling once again, and it would have been the same dumb shit. And ultimately, I need to move forward. I need to move on. Honestly, y'all think I like talking about him? Let's just stop there. Do you think I like talking about him every second, talking about I see so much more in him? No, I don't. Fuck. I'm tired of seeing more in a nigga than what he presents. Nigga, you are what you present to me. I don't see more. I'm blind to this shit. I'm Stevie Wonder to this shit. I do not see more anymore. I'm tired of seeing beyond your surface. I'm tired of seeing your spiritual being. Nope, I see a physical, carnal self, nigga. And you ain't shit. You ain't shit. Okay? We're going to end it here, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Please continue to support this podcast by telling your friend, your coworker, your colleague, your boss, your old nigga, you know, your side nigga, your side bitch, anyone. Support me as best as you can. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/godbuiltthis, and I hope you could consider being a patron. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.